Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about Laurentian type of climate in the climatic region the world's reach which we have started few years back. So Laurentian type of climate, if we try to understand some brief introduction about this, it is first of all the most important point is that this climatic region is restricted only in the northern hemisphere. The reason behind this will discuss in the later part of the video. Second, we can understand that in terms of latitude, it extends somewhere between 45° north to 65° north of latitude, and it is considered as a kind of transitory climate or intermediate kind of climate between the British climate in the south and Siberian climate in the north or west. And that is why this region or this climatic region has influence of both maritime as well as continental traits, because if you look at the areas where such climatic region has developed, it is surrounded by ocean from the all side, and also there is a very vast continental landmass where this climatic region has developed. Thus both maritime as well as continental trait. Geographically, Laurentian type of climate is also called as cool temperate eastern margin. The reason behind this is very simple. In terms of latitude, since it is situated in the 45 to 65° north of latitude, it comes under the cool temperate region. And why eastern margin? Because this climatic region develops on the eastern coast, eastern part of the continent. Now the question comes that why then we call it as a Laurentian climate? So the answer is very simple. Laurentia is a plateau of the Canada, which is considered to be one of the oldest land masses of the earth. And since this climate is found to be developing in large vast expanse of Laurentian sealed Laurentian plateau, the climate is called as Laurentian climate. If we try to look at the world map distribution of this particular climate, you can see clearly here that this climate is distributed in the northeastern coast of Canada as well as extending all the way up to the USA in the south, and then it extends also in this Asia where it has developed in the northern part of China, in the Manchuria region, in the Korean peninsula, as well as the coastal regions of Japan. So China, Japan, Korea in the Asia, and US and Canada in North America is where we can see development of this climate. So the most important question that come into our mind that why this climatic region has only developed in northern hemisphere and absent in the southern hemisphere. So two major reasons we can attribute to this fact. First of all, if we talk about the latitudinal extent, this climate developed between 45° to 60° something in that latitude. And if you look at the southern hemisphere, a very small section of any continent actually extend to the south of 40° south latitude. The only place where this climate could have developed in the South America, in the Patagonian region of Argentina. However, what happens as the westerly wind blows in this region, on this side of Patagonia desert, we know that this is Andes mountain is there, Andes range is there. So this Andes range actually prevent the westerlies to enter into Patagonia, and that is why Patagonia basically is lying in the rain shadow zone of Andes mountain, and that is why it has desert kind of appearance, not a Laurentian type of climatic appearance. So the only possibility in eastern Patagonia, there also this climate is not developed simply because of the rain shadow effect of Andes mountain. Now, what are the major climatic characteristics of this particular climatic zone that we have to understand? So first of all, if we try to look at the temperature or thermal conditions, so this climatic region experiences a very cold and dry winters, as well as it has warm and wet summer. What it means, the temperature in the winter time drops significantly, sometimes even below 0° Celsius, and there is no rainfall or very less rainfall in this region. On the other hand, if you look at the summer season obviously it is a warmer in nature, not very hot but warm in nature, and it is during the summer season this climatic region experiences highest amount of rainfall. So this is what we mean by cold dry winter and the warm wet summer. As far as the snowfall is concerned, so obviously whenever temperature in the winter season drops below 0° Celsius, this region experiences precipitation in the form of snowfall. Also, one very important characteristic that this climatic region exhibit is because there is an offshore cold ocean current that blows through this climatic region, that blows along this climatic region, and this produces a cooling effect across the coastal areas. And this cooling effect is what we can say is responsible for warm summer, a moderate summer, not very hot summer. On the other hand, if you look at the rainfall distribution in this climatic zone, as we can see from this particular graph, the maximum amount of rainfall is observed during the winter months of June, July as well as August. However, if you look at the overall year, every month has some sort of precipitation. That's what we can say, that rainfall is distributed throughout the year, or rainfall occurs in this climatic region throughout the year with what we can call as summer maximum. The reason is very simple, because what happens in the summertime, if this is suppose this Canadian landmass where Laurentian climate has developed, so this is land, it is a summertime, so land we know heats up more rapidly, so over the land will have development of high temperature, and this high temperature lead to development of a low pressure condition. On the other hand, in the oceanic areas in this time, we have relatively lower temperature because ocean water heats up at a slower rate, and thus it will have a high pressure. Thus, during the summertime, what happens? The wind become onshore wind. That means they are moving from the oceanic areas toward the land areas. And obviously, the wind is moving from oceanic areas to land area. They will carry along with themselves a huge volume of moisture, and this moisture then precipitate out after condensation in the form of rainfall. So this is what happens during the month of summer. Now what will happen in the winter? Obviously the situations will be reversed. In winter time, land will cool up at a faster rate. That means over the land will have low temperature, and low temperature will give rise to high pressure conditions. On the other hand, in the nearby oceanic areas such as Atlantic Ocean, in the winter, water bodies cool up at a relatively slower rate. Thus here will have high temperature, and thus it will be a low pressure system. And that is why the movement of wind will be offshore in nature. It will move from the dry continental interior toward the sea or toward the ocean, and since these winds are devoid of any kind of moisture, this leads to development of a drier condition, and that is why we have maximum rainfall in the summer and very less amount of rainfall that we experience during the winter. So this is the overall climatic characteristics of the this particular region. Now let us focus in two regions where this climatic zone has developed, one in North America and another in Japan. So first of all, if you look at the North America, what are the interesting things that is happening here? So this is the map of Canada, and this region is where we have development of this Laurentian climate. Newfoundland region of Canada around the Grand Banks region where we have development of this climatic region is fully observed. So what is happening around this region? If you look at this map, from the Arctic region, you have the cold current that is called as Labrador current is flowing along these areas, and from the southern side you have the Gulf Stream, that is a warm oxygen poor water from Gulf of Mexico that is flowing like this. So what basically happens around Newfoundland and Labrador coast, we have the meeting of cold Labrador current and the warm Gulf Stream. And due to this meeting of cold Labrador current and warm Gulf Stream, what will happen? The air above them will also be warmer and colder, and thus when warm and cold air masses meet, when warm and cold ocean current meet, it causes development of a very heavy mist or fog like situation, and this mist and fog like situation also later on give rise to rainfall, and that is why it is believed that Newfoundland region is one of the region where the maximum amount of drizzle is observed in the world, and that is because of meeting of cold and warm ocean current. Not only that, in the summertime, as we have discussed, the wind is coming from the ocean toward land, which is responsible for rainfall. So when these winds move from ocean to land, due to the warm nature of Gulf Stream, the amount of water vapor or moisture in these easterly winds suddenly increases, and due to this, the amount of rainfall also increases. That's what we can say. Gulf Stream also increases the amount of rainfall in the summer season. Now let us try to understand that what is happening in the Japan. So as we can see, Laurentian climate is fully developed in the China, northern China, Manchuria, North and South Korea, as well as the part of Japan. So let us try to focus that what happens along the coast of Japan, because it is in Japan where the Laurentian climate is fully developed and observed. So same thing as we have seen in the case of North America. Here also we have a cold ocean current that is coming from the Arctic region called as Oyashio current, and we have warm current that is called as Kuroshio current coming from the equatorial region. And along the eastern coast of Japan, both this cold and warm ocean current meet that lead to development of a fog or mist-like situation. So that is the first point. Second point, what will happen again if we talk about summer season? In summer season, what will happen? The land will heat up at faster rate. So here we'll have high temperature, that means here we'll have low pressure. On the other hand, ocean will heat up at slower rate, so here we'll have relatively high pressure due to low temperature. Thus during the summers, wind moves like this from the Sea of Japan and the Pacific Ocean, crossing over the Japan and then reaching all the way up to China. So this also causes rainfall over the islands of Japan because it's surrounded by water from all the sides. On the other hand, in winters, what happens? We have high pressure over land and low pressure over sea. So we have the northwest monsoon that develops in the winter that also picks up moisture from Sea of Japan and causes rainfall in the Japanese island. That's what we can say. Japan have two high season of rainfall. One during the summer by what we can say as southeast monsoon, and one during the winter by what we can say as northwest monsoon. In the summer, the rain is called as plum rain because it helps in ripening of the plum fruit, and in the winter, rain is called as typhoon because it is associated with typhoon that is a tropical cyclone. Thus, Japan has two rainy season, two rainy peak, one in the summer called as plum rain, other in the winter called as typhoon rain. Now, what about natural vegetation? So obviously, if you look at the conditions, climatic conditions of this area, we have heavy rainfall throughout the year. We have rainfall. The summers are warm, as we discussed before. And also, since this area experiences a lot of fog and mist, we have dampness in the air that is observed. So due to these three characteristics, the forests that develop in the Japan and as well as Canada and USA are generally cool temperate forests. However, if you go further beyond 50-degree north latitude, because the temperature is becoming more lesser, the deciduous trees cannot survive there, and thus we have the coniferous forest that is found beyond 50-degree north. So 40 to 45-degree, 50 degrees we have deciduous forest, evergreen forest, and beyond 50-degree we have development of coniferous forest, but overall it is largely covered by cool temperate forest, as we can see. Now, what about the economic development and economic activities? So as you can see that in this region of Japan, we have coniferous softwood trees that develops, and we have discussed in last video that these coniferous trees in the higher latitude develop in the pure stand. That means you do not have a lot of species diversity. Within a large area of the forest, one or two or three species of trees that can be easily found, and also there is a sparse undergrowth, and that is why the movement of the vehicles become easier in such forest, and that is why the economic opportunity for cutting down these trees, utilizing these trees and forests become very higher. And it is due to this reason lumbering is considered as one of the most important economic activity in this climatic region as well. And during the lumbering, what people do, they cut the trees, then they produce the timber, and this timber is then sent to different industries, especially for development of paper and pulp, as well as we have discussed before the manufacturing of matchsticks. So paper and pulp is one of the most important economic industries that has developed in this region. Apart from this, also as we have discussed that in this climatic region, we have the meeting of the cold and warm current, such as in North America, meeting of cold Labrador current and the warm Oyashi Gulf Stream. And in the Japan, we have the meeting of cold Oyashi current and warm Kuroshio current. Now, due to meeting of this warm and cold ocean current, what happens? There is an increase in the number of planktons. Planktons are small microorganisms. So due to the increase in the nutrients, increase in the availability of oxygen, the number of or density of planktons increases, other microorganisms also increases, and since fishes feeds upon these microorganisms, and since the food is now available in abundant quantity, the density of fish, the population of fish also increases around these areas. So if fish density is very higher, obviously what we can expect that there is a development of commercial fishing, that is one of the other important economic activity of this region. So due to mixing of cold and warm ocean current, that is the reason why we have development of fishing as a major economic activity. Not only that, since both Japan and Canada, they are rich country, developed countries, there is no dearth of capital available for the commercial fishing activities, and that is why commercial trawling is done by large enterprises in the coastal regions, territorial waters of Japan and North America. Third point also we can mention is that fishing has developed as a major economic activity not only because of positive factors, but also due to the factors that there is no other opportunities. For example, if we take Japan, in Japan more than 80% of land area is mountainous areas, and in these mountainous regions cropping, agriculture cannot be done, and this is the reason why people of Japan from very ancient times has been dependent upon fishes as their main source of food or main source of protein consumption. So geographical limitations as well as climatic characteristics has given rise to development of fishing. So this is all the major important point which we have to remember as far as the Laurentian type of climate is concerned. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.